Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Carla and I live in Scotland, and I'm here to do a progress update video for you today. It is the 2nd of May and I've got about 6 projects to show you today. I wanted to do this video before the end of April, but I didn't get a chance to do it. There was stuff going on, things have been quite busy recently. Talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But all in all, I can say that I had a relatively good stitching month. By that I mean I've touched every single project of mine, well, at least the active ones that I've been working on throughout this year. And yeah, it's exciting because I feel like I'm really getting some progress in most of them, and that's a good thing, because sometimes you think you're not making progress, but then when you look back on videos that you've done maybe nearer the beginning of the year, you can see that you have actually made some progress. So I have got mostly full coverage projects. I don't really do anything that isn't full coverage. I have got some things like samplers and that, but I'm never drawn to them. So obviously I don't start them, because starting them just means that they'll end up not being finished at all. And yeah, I'm just a full coverage stitcher. So if you're interested in that, please stick around. And if you're not, maybe this isn't the video for you. I do 2/1 tent stitch on nearly every single full coverage I have, and I use 25 count even weave. If there's a variation of that, I will point it out, but generally I'm on the 25 count and I'm doing tent stitches. It's just what I prefer. It's what I've always done. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? No messing around. Oh, first, before I do that, I just want to quickly say, because I know I'll forget, there is a 25% off sale in my Needleminder shop on Etsy. So if you want to go and take a quick look in there, you'll see all the needle minders that are currently in stock. Please go in and have a peek if you are so inclined and you enjoy collecting or buying needle minders. I should be putting up some more of these towards the end of the month, but we'll see how things go. There's plenty up there at the moment. Okay, so let's get started with the whips. Now, I don't want to forget anything, so I've written a few notes here. I'm going to start with the biggest one, my biggest whip, which a lot of people know what it is already. It's called Riverwalk Charm. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Ruane Manning. Started it in 2020. It's a regular version. And the story with this recently is that I decided with another floss tuber called Nadia, she is dark cross stitch, dark X stitch on floss tube. We were talking about our big pieces and getting stitching done, and I said, why don't we do some sort of a challenge? So we came up with a challenge to do 500 stitches a day until the end of the month. Now this, we decided this about a week before the end of April. And I thought, well, I've only got like about 3,000 stitches left to do to get to the end of a page. And so I thought, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I was wrong. Well, I very nearly got my 3,000 in, but not quite. I just got sidetracked. I had art classes. I had other things dragging me away, you know, bits and pieces, and I just didn't manage to get the full amount that I wanted to in. However, progress is progress, right, as they say, and I'm really glad that I decided to do that anyway, because it forced me to do probably more stitches on that page than I would have actually done. So here is what I'm talking about. I can hold it up, and I'm hoping that the light here is going to behave. So that's what I've got done. I'm going to take photos and show you in a little more depth, because holding things up like this does affect the way the light bounces off these fabrics. So this is the page that I wanted to get finished by the end of April. As you can see, I didn't quite manage it. There's a tiddly little bit here that I didn't quite get done, but that's okay. There's about 200 stitches. I was working on it yesterday and I filled in this little box here. So that's the whole page done, and I don't know whether I'm going to come over to this page or go down the pages, but whichever way, I think it's looking really neat. I'm glad I've got to the building section on the right side of this piece. I can hold it out a little bit more for you, because some people who are new, if there are indeed new watchers, have not seen this one before. That's the full piece. So yeah, slowly but surely, bit by bit, we're getting there. I have sort of hit near the bottom on this side, and that's how it looks when I stand back. It is, I think it's quite stunning actually. The way the light hits the buildings and the tree and everything, it is just, yeah. It's a talking point, isn't it? It's something you stop and look at in a gallery and you take in all the little details. I haven't actually got to the main amount of detail, which is going to be a lot further down on the left side, I think. But I'm looking forward to getting that. Now, I've got no particular goal on when I'm actually going to finish this piece. I don't like to put those kind of goals on, because to me it just feels and sounds like pressure. So I tend to shy away from making those type of goals. However, I'm confident it will be done within the next 5 years at least, because I do bring it out. Now, I think I've done about, okay, so in the last week I probably did about 2,500 stitches, but prior to that, throughout April, I probably did another 1,000 or so. So this one got the main focus this month, which I'm pleased about, because I put it away in, I think it was in March, to work on other things. So I'm glad it came out, and it is really coming along. Sometimes I'm in the mood for it, other times I'm not so much in the mood for it. I think that's just the way it goes. I don't really want to put this on the floor in case the cat comes in and starts jumping on it. I have to find somewhere to lay it down. Okay, so my next piece that I worked on in April, I'm even getting my months mixed up now. I was about to say in May. I haven't worked on anything in May. We've only just got to May. Okay, so this one is called Vatican Sunset, and it's a Thomas Kincade piece, and it's by HAED. Sorry, the other one is also by Heaven and Earth Designs, in case I didn't say that. This one is a Thomas Kincade piece, and it's also a Heaven and Earth Design, and I love it because I've been to Rome and I have seen the Vatican, not in any great detail, but I've gone past it. And it does look similar to this picture, but this picture is obviously taken at sunset, so that's not when I kind of went past it, but yeah, it's similarities. So I forgot to say, Riverwalk Charm, I did a whole extra %, which is quite a lot of stitches when you've got such a big piece. So I'm now at 58.35% on the Riverwalk Charm. I think last month I was at 57 point something %. So yeah, this one, Vatican Sunset by Thomas Kincade, is what I worked on as well this month. And here it is. This is the left side of the chart, and I worked on this, going over to here. All these yellowy bits here I worked on, and I also did some around here, some of these sort of brownish, yellowish colours here. Ochre. Is ochre a brownie colour? I think it might be. So that's that. This one is also tent stitch. I really love this one. This is by far my favourite at the moment. So this one is now at 17%, and again, no plans to finish it. This is half the chart here, so you can imagine it's going to be quite long, I think, but I think it's going to be quite stunning. I'm just plugging away at it bit by bit. I actually didn't think I was going to bring it out this month at all, but I have worked about 1,000 stitches in this one in April. But there you go. I just, sometimes I get an itching for it, and then sometimes I don't. And I think that's just the way it is with our stitchy pieces. Sometimes they call to us, sometimes we ignore it, other times we call them. That's kind of how it goes. Now I'm going to hold up my pieces, I think, on this, because it's just, they look better and they stand up a little bit better. So let's see, the next one I worked on this month, not this month, last month, is the HAED Stitch Along, and this is called Battle. Everybody's doing a different piece for the stitch along. I seem to, they're all sort of growing on me. Initially I didn't like most of them, but now I do. I think they're kind of started growing on me because they all look so nice once people have really got into them. I did quite a bit on this one again this month. I'm now at 32.25%. I've done about 4,000 or 5,000 stitches on this. This is how it's looking. So I have got done. I've come over and reached the end. So now I'm kind of working down. So I know that to get the rest of the charts, you need to have done 3 pages at the top, 3 pages in the middle, and maybe or down the bottom. I think it's 1, 2, 3, and then there's a little partial page which doesn't count, and then it's, which is 4, page 4, and then it's 5, 6, 7 along here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 doesn't count, 5, 6, 7. So I think I'm going to go like that. But I actually think instead of just doing that 1, 2, 3 pages and ignoring that little piece, I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to do the whole top section and then go down and do the, my hand doesn't reach, 5, 6, 7 underneath. And I think that will suffice. And I like this one. I do like it. It's an awful lot of pinky tones in it. So one can get a little bit tired of stitching in pink after a bit. And do not ask me about the confetti in the ship because I don't want to be reminded. It is a battle, let's say, to get some of this ship done. Like there's like 500 different browns in there. It drove me nuts, but like I've been told, 1 stitch at a time, and just to take it, you know, take it in your stride. It's nice to be able to switch from confetti crazy up to the nicer blocky sky area, I think. And yeah, I'm down here. I've come to the little top of the blue. There's like a blue sail here. Probably won't get down to that bit for a little while. So normally what I was doing was just like stitching all over the place, but now I'm kind of like deciding to go more into sections. So I'm now thinking I'm just going to, I think I'm thinking in pages at the moment. I never did really think in pages, but now I'm doing that a bit more often. I have to go for 2 seconds because my cat is crying to get in, and I have to go and sort her out before it descends into chaos. I'll be back in a second. That was quick. What is it about cats and doors that they just cannot stand doors being shut? You know, I mean, and when you let them out, they just want to come straight back in. So I don't get it. I don't understand the psyche of a cat. What are they thinking? Okay, so this next one is called Purrfect Wisdom. And again, it's a HAED chart, and it's a story keep. Story keep is just like a little crop of something bigger. And trust me, it's not that little. And it's a picture of an owl, and I did do a couple of thousand on this month, so it's up to 46.77%. So I really pushed this one, gone full steam ahead. Sometimes I think I'd like to go monogamous on it and get it finished by the end of this year, but I don't want to push myself to do that because I'm making such good progress on the others as well. I think, why don't I just, you know, keep going as I am, because everything's getting good progress. So Purrfect Wisdom is worked. Now I'm doing everything on 2 over 1/10 because I'm just giving up with the 4 crosses because they take so long. And here he is, and he is stunning because he kind of looks not metallic. Well, the colours are sort of metallic colours, so it kind of does give that effect, but they're not. They are. I'm using regular DMC. But I just think there's so much detail in those feathers, and his eye is just so detailed as well. I'm really glad I started this one. So this is one I'm doing for my husband, not because he particularly likes owls, but I think it's something nice to do that he can put up on his side of the office. yeah, so I started coming down. I think this hand might be easier. I pushed on ahead, finishing more of these feathers here, and then I started to come down, and this is where his leg begins. So I started to do more on that. Down here is that sort of stump. I don't think it's a tree stump actually. It looks more like pebbles or like some kind of rock with leaves on it and some greenery. So that's going to be coming down to. I don't know where the bottom of the piece is. It's still a fair way to go now. It's probably around about here. It's still quite a bit to go. So at 46%, I'm almost halfway. And again, some areas are confetti. This area is a bit more confetti. These are just solid black stitches. So again, you can sort of, you know, if you get tired of doing 310, you can always just move away and go into the more detailed area. And when you get tired of that, you can go back to the blocky area. That's kind of what I do. I have been doing, is like switching in and out. So this guy is coming along really well. I put him away for a while and wasn't really drawn to him, but recently I have been trying to get, you know, some more progress on him. I mean, I used to think story cubes would take no time at all, but I'm wrong. I'm just wrong. They do take time. Everything takes time when it's a HAED or when it's a full coverage, especially when you're doing, these are such tiny holes, and you think, you like a square of 100 isn't really a huge part of the canvas, is it? Especially as we're always generally choosing such large ones compared to choosing the mini ones, although I have got some minis. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is called Village Bookshop. This is just a little one that I picked up on Etsy. Just one day I've decided I like the look of it. And again, I had it in my head that was going to take no time to finish, but I was wrong. But I have got some more progress this month. I'm not going to take this one off the hoop because it doesn't really need to come off the hoop. It is at 2.27%. It's just something I bring out maybe like a Sunday afternoon or something if I'm getting tired of the bigger ones. So I call this a smaller one, even though it's not that small. It's got about 95,000 stitches. In fact, it's got more stitches, I think, than that story cube that I just showed you, which is about 80,000. And that's the corner up here. I looked at the mock-up of this and I thought it looked okay. I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to look fantastic. As I keep going into it, I keep an eye on how it's coming out. I'm a little bit, I don't know, what's the word? Not suspicious, that isn't the word. Cautious with charts that I buy from Etsy, because a lot of them are just converted into cross-stitch patterns without any care taken into, you know, taking away some of those ninja stitches that aren't really necessary, things like that, tidying up the design itself. Some people don't do that, and you'll find that it looks very nice when you're looking at the actual picture of it, but once you've stitched it, it can look, I don't know, scattered stitches that are not really blending, things like that. There can be problems. So I do tend to be a little bit more wary of buying just one of these random, you know, let's just shove everything into a generator and pump them out without even really looking at how they're going to come out. Because sometimes the mock-up isn't always the true reality of what you see in the, you know, the front picture, which is so attractive, which is the picture that attracts us to stitch them. Yeah, that's just me, just a little bit cautious. So that's my full coverage stitching that I did this month. Now I'm going to show you, I picked up a stamped kit and I had a little bit of a problem with it, and I'll get that one next and explain what's happened. It's a Painting Fairy stamped kit. Now, stamped kits are not something I do regularly. It's just an as and when kind of thing. Is that rain? I think it's rain coming down. But I really got in the mood for stitching this one. Now, I know that Stamped isn't for everyone, but I like to do it a little bit when I'm tired and I don't want to do too much counting. I think stamped works really nicely for that. But some canvases can be really awful. The print is not good on the fabric. Painting Fairies really actually very decent, and I kind of like them for that. So I got this gigantic piece called Four Seasons Town. As I explained in a previous video, I've watched a couple of other stitchers doing this one, and I was looking around to see where they got theirs from. I know the Keystone Stitcher is doing it. I don't think she's finished hers. Nobody seems to really know where it was designed. It's one of those that you can find like on AliExpress and other places. No designers come forward and claimed it. It's like one of those, it's like that big long village that everybody's doing, where you can find the same chart on Etsy in lots of different places. So I always think I like to get things where the designer is actually rewarded for, for the payment, with the payment of these things. But if if it's nowhere to be found at all, then, where is the designer? I'd rather buy the original from the original design. So if the original designer is watching my video, I'm very happy to reimburse you for this chart. Thank you very much. Very happy. However, I started it in January and I did put in some stitches, but it's an 18 count that I got. And I thought, do you know what? 18 count will be fine with 1/1, I think, because I've tried 1/1 before on 18 and 20, and I think they're okay. Well, I didn't like it. I did quite a lot of it actually in 1/1, but then I decided I didn't like it. So here is my progress, and I have got all of this top of the tower, this part done, and these windows here. So all of the tower and most of the top of this was done in 1/1, one strand over one cross, 18 count, remember. And the coverage is okay. Probably looks absolutely fine from a distance, but when you look at it close up, you can see the fabric. When I went over it in 2/1, 2 strands full cross, it was way too thick. I started doing a bit around here and I couldn't see symbols that were in between other stitches that I'd already done. So I thought, well, if I can't see the symbols in between stitches I've already done, we're already set up for failure. I won't finish it. So then I said, right, let's try 2 strands tent. So I went to 2 strands tent and I did a couple of them around here, and it wasn't that great. You could still see quite a bit of fabric. So then I went to 3 strands tent, and that was actually perfect for the 18 count. Really perfect. It wasn't too tight. It didn't take up too much space in the stitch so that the other stitches would be all squashed and lumpy. It was actually quite good. So all of this section here, at least, is done with the 3 strands. And if I take a picture and show it closer up, you'll be able to see what I mean. It's got dark. If the lights change, it's because it's got really dark. Not much I can do about that. So yeah, much preferring the 3 strands. However, stitching with 3 strands, which is something I've never done before, is actually a bit of a pain to get used to, because I normally stitch with 2 strands and I like to do the loop start method. I'm sure many of you know what I mean about how to do that method with 2 strands. So it's actually 1 strand that's folded in half, and then you do the loop strand method like that. But if you're using 3 strands, you can't do a loop method. So I have to actually peel 3 separate strands and then start on the back, do my stitches on the front, end my stitches on the back. It's actually a bit of a pain to get 3 strands back onto the floss drops. That is how these threads are organized when they send them to you. So I thought, my God, this is a pain. So I have to peel off 1 strand off the floss drop. Now I have to peel another strand off the floss drop. I have to cut them in half because they're very long, and I can't use 1 strand and I can't use 2 strands really of the very long piece. So I have to cut them to a reasonable length and then peel out 3 strands to do the stitching. And it's like, am I going to do this for a chart this big constantly? We'll see. So I thought, how am I going to make it easier for myself? So what I did was I decided to, and I'll show you right here, put them all into bottles. So these were all on floss drops. And the reason that's going to be so much easier is because now all I have to do is peel away a strap, peel away a thread, peel off 3 strands and wind it back on really quickly and stick it back in the box, rather than trying to get little bits of leftovers into the holes of the floss drop, you know, thing. And it's just, it was such a mess, and there was fur balls getting stuck to it. I just thought this is going to be easier for me to peel my 3 strands away. And it was far easier. So I think, having done that, this chart now has a moderate success rate, a moderate chance of actually being continued with, because it's not going to be a huge dilemma to do it in 3 strands tent. Ideally, now, I was thinking about this, and this is going to make you laugh, I think. So my husband says, why don't you just go and get the 16 count, or, you know, the one that you want to use. So if you get the 16 count, you can just do the 2/1 full cross. And I said, yeah, but I've already paid for this one. And I've already done quite a bit, and I don't want to dump it really. And I just felt bad about doing that. And he said, look, it wasn't very expensive. Just go into Painting Fairy and buy a 16 count. So I went into Painting Fairy, and then what did I do? Instead of buying a 16 count, I went and bought 2 different charts. Completely different charts. So now I still have this one plus 2 more that's on the way. You couldn't make it up. Then my husband said to me, did you get the chart? And I said, kind of got a chart, not necessarily this one again. Never mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue working with the 3 strands, because now I'm finding it easier actually with the way that I've sorted out the flosses. Whatever works for you, just do it that way. Don't worry about what other people are doing. They're doing the way that they see best for them. That's what you should do. And if you work with 4 strands, actually, I'd be interested to know, if you work with anything more than 2 strands, how do you manage that on floss drops? It must be a little bit awkward. I'm just saying, because I found it a bit awkward to get peeling strands off and actually putting them back onto the floss drop when I wanted to save them for, you know, because you don't throw away. Sometimes you finish your thread and you've got like a little bit left that you don't want to throw away, but you need to put it somewhere, and putting it back on the floss drop actually is quite messy. So I think that's everything I wanted to say about this one. Yeah, that's it really. So that's the whole story, the whole kerfuffle that went on. So I've been working on this a little bit more recently because I've been getting sinus headaches. I suffer from sinus allergies, and this has been an ongoing problem for a couple of years, or more than a couple of years. So I have to be careful. And I think it was two nights ago, I think I had a horrendous headache, like sinus headache all around my forehead. And my eyes were sore, and I just couldn't, you know, I just didn't want to be counting stitches. So instead I just brought out the Painting Fairy one. And it was so much easier. I didn't have to be looking at the screen, which is another thing I don't like doing too much when I've got a headache. So I was able to still, you know, satisfy my stitching itch, but without too much discomfort to my head. So yeah, unbelievably, instead of going into the store to replace the one I've got on a 16 count, I just decided to buy 2 more charts. But I did buy them on 16 count, so I'm not going to go through this same dilemma again. We hope not. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So my total stitch count for April is 21,872, which I think is pretty good. Actually, looking back on January, February, March, that's more than I've done in those 3 months. I don't know how, because I've been busy. I have been busy. So there isn't a lot of life update that I can give you. I did mention in my live stream that I had hurt my foot about a week ago, I think it is now, and I don't know if I stepped on something or I just twisted my foot the wrong way. I don't know what I did, but the sole of my foot got a little bump and I couldn't walk on it. It was painful to walk on it. I had to put some padding and stuff and go and, you know, kind of walk around in thick socks, which isn't really the time of year for it either because it's not that cold. So thick socks and thick slippers, and then the pain started to go away. So it's actually a lot better now. My God, that rain is really coming down now. Where is our spring going? Where is our summer? I feel like we're going back into winter. This isn't fair. So it's actually a lot better now. Thank you to those who have asked, and I can walk again normally, more or less. But if I walk on a hard floor, as everybody will know, if you've got a pain on the bottom of your foot and you walk on a hardwood floor, which is what I have in this apartment, yeah, that's not a good idea. It'll start aching and be sore again. So I have to, you know, the little bump hasn't fully gone away, but it's going away. So I have to be careful not to aggravate my foot. That's the main thing. And apart from that, I had an art class on Thursday, which I really enjoyed. I like doing a little bit of drawing now and again, and I never really go to many classes. I have been to a few in the past. And it was good. It was good fun. I think on Thursday we did oil pastels, which I never have used before. So that was interesting. And next week it's illustrative painting. And I like doing illustrations. I do actually do my drawings, as some of you know, in my Etsy shop. My Needleminders, some of them are hand drawn digitally on my tablet. So I have a little digital tablet and I use a program software and I draw on the tablet, which is like drawing on paper but not on paper. And I get the paintbrush tool and I do it like that, and then I get the eraser tool and all the rest of it, and I do the picture itself on my screen like you'd normally do on a piece of paper, and then I print it and then I turn it into Needleminders. I haven't done any of those kind of drawings lately. It's just something I haven't done. I want to get back and do some more of those actually, because they were really nice and people bought them, people liked them. So I think I should get back into doing some more. But you know how it is, you go through phases of things and then after a while you just think, oh, I don't want to do that. And then you get some idea in your head randomly and then you go back and you do it. So that's it. And next week is going to be a busy week because I have some people coming up to put some flooring down in my apartment here. So it's not going to be this is like the office room. It's not going to be in here. It's going to be in the hallway and the living room, the two worst possible rooms. So we're all going to have to like bunk out in our bedroom, just waiting for these guys to put the flooring down. I think they would be quick because, I mean, they're the professionals, right? They're not going to sit there going, how long is this going to take? They said it's going to take a couple of days, so it shouldn't be long at all. But I think it's just going to be the inconvenience of having to get past, to go to the kitchen, to go to the bathroom. So I'm hoping if the weather's not terrible, I'm just going to get out and leave them to it. But the thing is that I kind of need to keep an eye on the cat as well, because she'll be scared at first and she won't go near the people that are doing it. But then when she gets, you know, a bit curious, she'll come out and start sniffing around. And I don't want her to get in the way. So I'm going to have to try and keep her into the bedroom whilst they're doing the hallway and the living room. And just make sure she's not causing any trouble. She wouldn't really, but she might just, you know, cats are curious. They like to know what's going on. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's just going to be a couple of days. I don't mind putting up with a bit of works going on. I'm sure the neighbours are not going to love me for a couple of days. But I mean, I've lived in places where people have made the most horrendous noise for weeks and weeks, and I've never complained, but it has been dreadful. And, you know, things that have to be done. It's just something you've got to live with, right? Especially if you live in an apartment block. You've got to be understanding that other people have to do works in their in their apartment the same way that you want to do works in your apartment. Oh my goodness. I think this is just, I don't know if you can hear that on the roof there. It's just a bit crazy. Well, I won't be going out today, that's for sure. So that's everything, I think, for the life update. That's everything for the stitching. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've left out. I don't think I've left anything out. I was just, yeah, I think that's it. So as far as plans go, many of you know that I don't really plan. I just keep on stitching what I've got. And, oh yes, there is one thing I want to say, but I'm not going to give you the full details. I have a mystery stitch on the go. So I started something, and I was inspired kind of like from Andrew the rubber stitcher. He's doing a mystery stitch, but he's doing it as a stitch with me, with viewers to watch. That sounds bad. So I've started a mystery stitch, but I'm going to just kind of reveal it. Maybe next month, maybe the month after, but it's just, I don't know when I'm going to reveal it, but I just wanted to do something interesting just to reveal a bit later on down the line. So I'll be doing that. Yeah. So there's not going to be like, oh, there's me doing like a stitch of me on this and you have to guess what it's going to be. If you saw it now, you'd know exactly what it is. So there's no point showing you. And you can guess if you like, but I'm not going to tell you. But there is going to be that. So yeah, so that's all my projects that I have done this month, and I'm looking forward to coming back. I will be doing some stitch with me's as soon as they're done with the flooring, as soon as I get a chance. And hopefully after that I'll be able to do another live. So that's it from me. I hope you'll have a wonderful weekend stitching, or whatever it is you decide to do. And I'll be back again with another update, obviously, at the end of May. So until then, guys, happy stitching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.